Anthony Edwards is an emerging NBA star, without a doubt. He was the Minnesota Timberwolves' first-round selection in 2020, and he scored more than 25 points per game on average during the postseason last year. But then he misused his platform. His Instagram post making fun of LGBTQ folks caused a stir on social media. Recently, the star of the Timberwolves apologized for the discriminatory post. But is it enough though? Let's find out more ahead. First up, what's with the trash talking? He took the role too seriously, we're guessing. As the trash-talking basketball player Kermit Wilts in LeBron James' production Hustle, Edwards even brought his star power to the big screen. But recently, Edwards switched from using homophobic words on screen to actual homophobic language, which he tweeted to his 1.2 million Instagram followers. Anthony Edwards of the Minnesota Timberwolves might face punishment from the NBA for using homophobic comments in a video that he uploaded to social media. In the footage, Edwards can be heard talking about a group of men he observed on the street. In the video, which was first shown on Instagram Live and later removed before appearing on other social media platforms, he used disparaging remarks and slurs for them. He issued an apology on Sunday, calling his remarks immature, hurtful, and insulting. Edwards can play basketball, no doubt, but what sort of person, example, or leader is he? And what steps should be made to prevent this type of conduct in the NBA and the larger sports community? Some of the world's roughest, strongest, and most devoted individuals have passed through these locker rooms. We're aware of the expenses associated with being a top athlete, including long hours of practice, film analysis, and the constant threat of injury. And yet, respect for others should never be a secondary thing to any of these great champions. It's the easiest thing in the world to punch down and joke at the expense of others, mostly marginalized communities, but it says everything about the person. Next, let's look at what's expected of Edwards. Edwards is only 21 years old, and people frequently exploit this fact to justify the sort of reprehensible behavior they engage in. But we know that no age should ever be used as an excuse for discrimination of any type, including racism, homophobia, and sexism. It's just not enough to simply apologize and hope that the incident will be forgotten as his next course of action. We believe in order to make amends for his actions, Edwards must make a conscious decision to be better. And for the "he's just a young kid" argument, might we remind you that one of the best basketball players of all time, LeBron James, was drafted out of high school. He's managed to garner attention for his achievements, advocacy, and commercial ventures rather than hateful comments against marginalized communities. Now, what's his team's course of action? Surprise, surprise. The Timberwolves released a statement on Monday that contained all the standard cliches about being welcoming and inclusive. Ugh, aren't you tired of organizations giving the same copy-pasted blanket statements? Team President Tim Connolly made an apology in a message on Monday in the afternoon, and it stands to reason that Edwards' punishment will resemble the $50,000 fine imposed on Kevin Durant last year following his disgusting, homophobic, and sexist outburst. If that does end up being the punishment, though, is it sufficient? Not to us, no. This season, the Timberwolves will pay Edwards $10.7 million. For the rest of us, that would be the equivalent of a $100 parking ticket. He was chosen by the Timberwolves with the first overall choice in the 2020 NBA Draft and has played in 144 games over the course of 2 seasons, averaging 20.3 points, 4.7 rebounds, and 3.4 assists. A fine would be little more than a Band-Aid for Edwards, who would still be eligible to play for the Timberwolves. It would be a temporary repair. If only a fine is imposed, Edwards and his staff will have received more attention than the numerous LGBTQ individuals who directly suffer as a result of the damaging stereotypes promoted and reinforced by his Instagram post. Moving on, has an NBA become homophobic? This isn't the first time we're hearing such comments from an NBA player. According to the Gay and Lesbian Alliance Against Defamation, homophobia is a growing issue in the NBA. In the past, the NBA has penalized players for making anti-gay comments. Rajon Rondo received a 1-game suspension from the NBA in December 2015, in part due to an outburst he had towards a referee that contained a homophobic slur. Brooklyn Nets star Kevin Durant was penalized $50,000 by the NBA in April 2021 for using offensive and abusive language on social media, which included an anti-gay slur. The Black Mamba used the slur on a referee. Then Joakim Noah used it against a Miami Heat fan, costing Bryant $100,000. Even if Kobe Bryant and Joakim Noah apologized, their comments weren't appropriate to begin with. And these are just incidents from the top of our heads. There are many more, so clearly the fines aren't doing anything. It's time for the NBA's athletes, who are among the most on-camera visible in all of the professional sports, to act like professionals. These players need to understand that they are in the public eye virtually constantly because they serve as role models for the vast majority of people who watch the sport. So what do we think he should do? Well, first of all, let's move from empty statements and actually do something. The NBA and its athletes would demonstrate their commitment to inclusivity if they suspended him, fined him, and made a donation to an LGBTQ organization of his choice. Also, it would demonstrate to other elitist male athletes that homophobia has no place in sports. It would be a great chance for Edwards to develop a sincere and caring relationship with his LGBTQ fans by choosing the charity he donates to. He needs to interact with LGBTQ individuals and learn that they're just like everyone else: sports fans, siblings, children, parents, and so on. This would also serve as a lesson for his young fans, and rather than being dragged on social media, would also help him advance his life and grow as an ally. The impact of Edwards' apology will only become apparent with time. If he actually cares about the people he has hurt, the message he has sent, and the course his legacy will take, or if the NBA and he are only interested in retaliatory apologies and pointless fines. Now, in other news surrounding the Minnesota Timberwolves, who's this guy scrambling to buy the team? According to rumors, Alex Rodriguez's $1.5 billion agreement to purchase the Minnesota Timberwolves is at risk. When Rodriguez and e-commerce entrepreneur Mark Lohr paid a $250 million down payment for a 20% ownership stake in the squad in July 2021, they were intended to be equal partners. Lohr apparently paid the remaining 13%, while Rodriguez reportedly only contributed 7% of his part. According to the agreement's conditions, the following 20% payment must be made by the end of the year, and according to sources, Rodriguez is scrambling to raise his half on top of the cash he needs for the down payment. It's possible that he purchases more than half to obtain a controlling stake in the club. Earlier attempts by Rodriguez and Lohr to acquire the New York Mets were unsuccessful. Back then, Rodriguez was dating Jennifer Lopez and made it appear like they were investing as a pair. It's currently believed that the reason Rodriguez is finding it difficult to raise his part of the money needed to buy the Timberwolves is because of their breakup. Well, that's two investments that didn't go through, huh? Next, Anthony's still getting rave reviews. In his summer workouts, Anthony Edwards resembles a monster. Not our words, though. John Krasinski, one of the most renowned Minnesota Timberwolves beat writers and columnists, said this about him recently. In fact, a close friend of Ant has also been teasing his glow-up, saying just wait till you see him. Going into his third year, which is often when stars make big leaps, it sounds like he has really dedicated himself to this during the offseason and is putting a lot of effort into it. He's now beginning to recognize the differences between working hard when you're a rookie and 20 years old and when you're a veteran and genuinely want to rise to the level of an exceptional player in this league. Good on him. Just hope he learns to respect everyone too. Lastly, Ant isn't the only teammate in trouble. The Minnesota Timberwolves' Taurean Prince was apprehended in Florida on the basis of a warrant related to a traffic stop in May where authorities claimed to have discovered drugs and weapons in his vehicle. The Miami-Dade County Jail booking record shows that the NBA forward was taken into custody on an out-of-state fugitive warrant and was given his full name, Taurean Lewis Waller Prince. According to Prince's lawyer, Ken Schaefer, the athlete was stopped in Arlington, Texas, and it appears that a warrant was issued for his arrest in the previous week and a half because they found what is likely the tiniest amount of THC possible, 1/100th of an ounce, during the search. Who's telling the truth? Time will tell. That's a wrap for this video. How do you think Anthony Edwards should be reprimanded? Let us know in the comments below. As always, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to our channel for more videos like this. See you in the next one.